Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Steve Rao here, and I'm here today to host a very special live broadcast on Radio Murchie all across the Triangle and in Baltimore, Philadelphia, and other cities. Um, want to thank the Radio Murchie team. And today, we are here today to celebrate International Peace Day, Day of Peace, World International Day of Peace. And we have with us today Dr. Maurice Werner. And Dr. Werner, we welcome you to the show. We have about 12 minutes on the radio, and then we're going to spend another 15 minutes live just talking with everybody about peace, which is something I think we could talk more about. So we want to welcome you, Dr. Werner. I think I met you before last year when we were both on the stage at an event in Durham. So before we begin, quickly, could you tell us a little bit about your background and where you're a medical physician at, and your connection with the Heartfulness Institute and this International Day of Peace?
Well, happy to do that, Stephen. Thank you for having me. It's always an honor and a blessing, really, to be able to talk about meditation and, how to create peace, right? It's up to us, right? Peace begins with us. So I feel really blessed to be here. So thank you for that. Something about my background, I've been a physician for over 30 years now. It's hard to believe it's that long. And I was drawn to natural medicine. There's something about the wisdom of nature. There's something about the simplicity, if you will, or our connection to nature that is very healing. And so this is what I do. But as a physician, when I'm writing prescriptions for people, I'll often write meditation, and they'll think I misspelled medication. So, to me, meditation is one of the most powerful medicines that we can give ourselves in the world. Because if we're in peace, then that radiates out to our communities, to everyone around us. I started meditating about 30 years ago while I was in medical school. One of my buddies was acing everything, and he was calm as a cucumber, and I was struggling. And after about 6 months, I said to him, I don't know what you're doing, but I want some of that. And he says, well, I meditate. And I didn't believe in anything like this. I'm a very scientific guy. But I said, okay, let's do it. I need the help. And I started Heartfulness 30 years ago. And I found not only did I make it through medical school and have been blessed to, share the medicine and meditation with a lot of people. But it gave me a whole lot more than just calming my mind. It gave me a deeper relationship with myself. It gave me a capacity to live a more meaningful life, which nourishes a part of who I am on a very, very deep level. So I feel indebted to the practice. And that's how I got started.
Well, tell us a little bit about the Heartfulness Institute. I want to thank everyone, Ramesh, and everyone listening today from all across the Triangle and all across the country. We got people from all across the country and world listening to this right now, which is fascinating. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about all the people watching. But talk to us about the Peace Day coming up, World International Day of Peace, which is today at 8 p.m., but a little bit about the Heartfulness Institute and your work with them. And then I'm going to do some follow-up questions, both on the radio and in the live, about just how hard it is to have peace during a time like this.
Well, I'm happy to talk about that. So yes, today is the International Peace Day, and we're expecting close to 40 million participants in that across the globe. We have a session that's going to start at 8 o'clock tonight, no matter what your time is in your local area. It's starting at 8 o'clock all over the world. And it's going to be a wonderful session. There'll be wonderful guests that will be talking about meditation and basically, as I said earlier, that peace starts with us. I know this is a very tough time for people, but one of the beautiful opportunities we have is, in this pandemic, is to be with ourselves and learn how to get present to what's going on inside. And once we're able to deal with ourselves in a better way, then it makes dealing with other people easier. So it's a very straightforward process, Steve. No mystery to it. It's deep, and we begin to bring peace to ourselves, and then that radiates out into the world.
Tonight at 8:00 p.m. and you'll give us at the end of this program the website that they can go to learn about that, correct?
Well, Steve, they can go to, very simply, they can go to heartfulness.org, heartfulness.org, pull up the website, and on there they'll find all the details about the event tonight.
Heartfulness.org. Okay, great. Well, I want to thank everyone for putting this together, and it's a world-class event. I'm going to be attending myself. Let's talk a little bit about meditation. I mean, we are living right now in we talk about storms coming in a lot, but we have a storm on our healthcare system with, by the end of the month, they're projecting that more people would have died from World War I, the Korean War, and Vietnam than COVID-19. More people would died from COVID-19 than those three wars. So you've got a lot of loss, grief, economic storm, uncertainty, millions unemployed. John Chambers, the former CEO of Cisco, said we're not expecting a recovery until the end of next year. He spoke at a summit I hosted last week as my guest. And then you've got the spiritual storm. I'm sensing out there, just being a city council member, a lot of anxiety, including myself, because so much negative news that you're just on edge. You don't know how to get away from it. So how do we get ourselves to a place where we can separate the realities that we see and observe with our eyes, all the information coming with us, to develop that inner peace?
Well, Steve, it's a very good question. And the first thing that I'll say is that it's totally normal for people during a time like this with a pandemic and so much financial and political strife. It's totally normal for us to be anxious. And the more awareness the more time we spend in front of the news, etc., the more agitated we can get. And it doesn't mean we shouldn't stop learning about the news and what's happening and stop being involved in working for whatever action steps we can take in the world. That's all very important. But equally important, if not more, is to come into ourselves. When I want to find stability or communicate that to my patient, I talk to them about embodiment. Our body, our physical body, and many of the great spiritual books in the world talk about this as the body as a temple. Okay? So that is with us all the time. So when I talk to my patients, can we come into our body? Can we bring our awareness into the body? Why is that important? Because the body is connected to the earth, the most stable thing that we can feel is the earth, our feet on the ground. So the word embodiment can be confusing to people. What do you mean by that, Doc? Well, people who are watching this, can you feel your seat on the chair? Can you feel your feet on the ground? If you can do those things, you have unlimited potential to bring your awareness into the body. Now, I say that so that we can begin to develop a reservoir of good feelings inside that can balance out whatever anxious or fearful feelings or fearful actions may be taking place on the outside. So we work in what I call resource building. So I spend time with myself in meditation, which is a very, very gentle, loving experience. And I get present to whatever feelings may be going on in there, but I treat those feelings with absolute loving kindness. And what science tells us is that if you treat whatever feelings you have in the inside with kindness, the body will begin to integrate those memories, those feelings, and then they will be integrated into the whole. So they'll no longer be separate disturbances in our field. And so we continue to pour this loving kindness on ourselves and develop a resource then that we can bring out into the world. And that's why we practice meditation. We don't just do it once, but I practice meditation as much as I can, at least every day. But that's the idea. We develop a resource of loving kindness, of heartfulness, if you will. And that's that heartful energy that we bring into the world. And then that is duplicated and magnified across the planet.
Okay, well, we really appreciate your time with us. We're going to continue our town hall, but just for those leaving the radio, first of all, we want to thank you for listening on Radio Murchie. And we've been with Dr. Maurice Werner talking about peace and meditation, and today, September 21st, the International Day of Peace. Give us that website one more time so that everyone can go tonight all across the country and participate in this wonderful event. And I want to thank my dear friend Ramesh and all of the leaders of the Heartfulness Institute for being so gracious to extend an invitation to me and for organizing this interview with you.
It's a pleasure for us. And so the website again is heartfulness.org, heartfulness.org.
We want to thank you all. We're going to be rebroadcasting this probably this weekend. And I want to thank everybody for being on the Murchie Show and for everyone listening live on the Radio Murchie USA website. And if you're interested in working with Radio Murchie, please email me and we'll get you in touch. It's a fantastic station. And I really want to give a shout out to Ravi Chakuri, the owner of the station. He has just created just a world-class radio station. And radio is a great way to connect right now since we are socially distancing and we're not able to see each other. At least we can convey our messages through the radio. So thank you so much. And we're going to continue for about 5 to 6 more minutes. So stay with us if you're listening live, and we'll continue with this conversation. And for those of you listening, just remember that it's 99.9 HD4, 1490 AM, 101.9 FM, and we're also listened to in Baltimore, Philadelphia, and Dallas, along with some other cities in the country. Now, so the other division we didn't talk about, which is creating a lot of anxiety, is political division. I have never in my life lived in a time where I literally feel like I'm living in the middle of a Tom Clancy novel. We've got foreign policy crisis. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We've had George Floyd and others murdered or killed, and a lot of anxiety there about racial tension. Then on top of that, I've observed over my lifetime political differences, but never to the extent where I've seen now, where literally it's like House of Cards, where each party is just wanting to do their own thing, basically winning at all costs. And it just adds to the anxiety level. So don't you think that it's time for other leaders to get themselves to a place? Maybe meditation is something good for either political party, leaders from the city level, the mayors, the political leaders, to have that inner peace. Because I think when we have inner peace, wouldn't you agree, doctor, that we make better decisions?
Of course. Yeah, but the people lead the leaders. Okay? We as individuals must lead. We can't wait for the leaders. They're caught up in whatever they're caught up in. Meditation is the greatest gift, in my opinion, the greatest gift we can give ourselves. And the inverse of that is that it's also a huge gift to our community and our universe. So if people don't want to meditate, that's on them. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if they don't, because it's a beautiful gift we can give ourselves. So what I would recommend is that we don't wait for the leaders to meditate. Meditation is very simple, but it's not easy, okay? One of the most difficult things for us to do as human beings is to be in touch with our absolute magnificence.
Yes, and to live as former.
And so I'm sorry, go ahead, Steve.
No, you go ahead.
And so, yeah, it's not easy to be present with ourselves. You know, that we find things, we find mistakes, we find flaws. None of us are perfect. But we treat each one of those so-called imperfections as a lesson, something that we came here to learn. And we treat it with kindness, not criticism. And we don't get caught up in the story about it, because once we've integrated that into our whole, now we're on to the next lesson. And so we would love for leaders, everyone, to meditate. It would be helpful for the planet. It would be helpful to all of us. But you know, here's the beauty. We don't have to wait for them. We can do it. We can make a decision right here and now to begin.
That's fantastic. We have a couple questions coming in. We have to wrap up in a few minutes. I've got another meeting I've got to head to, but I guess that's just a great way to, so I think for those of you, this question just came in from somebody. They just said that they've heard former Vice President Biden experience a lot of tragedy in his life, losing his wife and daughter in a car accident, and then losing his son, Beau, the former Attorney General of Delaware, the late Beau Biden, to brain cancer, glioblastoma. And this individual who's asking this question said she's heard Joe Biden say that the most important thing is to find a life that you can live with purpose. But this person says, isn't it sometimes we feel so is being busy doesn't necessarily mean you're living a life of purpose. So maybe purpose, right, being aware of your own magnificence and your own place in the universe. So you know that every day you get up, you have purpose. And I've been thinking about that myself recently. And it's scary when you think that I don't know what purpose I'm serving. And I'm probably not the only one that feels like that, because it just goes so fast. And there's a limited amount of time, right? So,
well, this is the
thought on that.
Sorry, Steve, go ahead.
No, what's your final thought? What's your thought on that?
Well, it's a wonderful inquiry, but that's why everything doesn't happen at once. Time is here for a reason. And that's why meditation in a way slows us down. And when we slow down, we can go deeper and deeper into who we are. And it's from those depths that we can find purpose. When I was younger or whatever, I used to enjoy sitting around watching TV or this and that, right? But as I've gotten older and I've realized how precious life is, now my life is about things that are more meaningful to me. Like, what difference can I make for somebody else? So it's a natural process. The deeper we go into ourselves with this heartful approach, we'll start to be moved by deeper and deeper and more meaningful experiences. And these are the things we will participate in naturally, absolutely naturally. And we don't have to worry about what impact that it's not registering in the world, because there's an old saying that, when you feed the fish, if the fish don't know it, God does.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just keep feeding the fish and, have faith in what we're doing. Have faith in the goodness that is in each of us. and the world will slowly wake up.
Spend probably another hour on this topic, but I think just to
Look, I'm happy to do it. I'm
well,
happy to do this anytime.
well, for those of you listening who have been a part of this conversation, we're going to continue this conversation. So I really love this idea of maybe going with a monthly kind of little session where we can talk about meditation, bring it into different aspects of our life. But I know everyone's busy. It's the middle of a work day. So, but we want to thank you for your insight. You're in the Durham area, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Durham, North Carolina.
So just as a final reminder before we sign off, remember everybody, heartfulness.org, and you can go to get any information about where you can bring meditation into your life. And then we're going to have, there's a International Peace Day today, 8 o'clock, live, 40 million people coming all around the world to participate in this historic event. I want to thank everybody for making this happen. I want to thank Dr. Werner for being with us today. And hopefully I'll get out of a council meeting early enough that I can be there. But I want to thank you all so much for being with us. And just a shout out to the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. We talk about life with purpose and peace. We're going to be doing some sessions about her. You know, I think that she really made a lot of change in the world for the better, not only for our time, but for all time, just in terms of gender discrimination, sexual discrimination, and, you know, something as small as Serena Williams being able to carry the US Open trophy, but get $1 million check, just like her male counterpart. And yeah, we have to thank Billie Jean King for that. But the law of the land was changed by Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And so that's pretty powerful when you take a step back, not only as a Supreme Court justice, but as a lawyer. So I want to thank you all.
Steve, I want to thank you for all the tremendous work you're doing. Keep going. You have a beautiful, generous spirit, and it radiates to everybody you touch. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Well, we really appreciate it and our time with everyone today. We're going to be bringing Dr. Werner back on. And thank you for being with us today. And remember, be safe, be well, and we'll be doing some updates at the end of the week. The main thing is virus is at 4.6% positive, 193,000 deaths in North Carolina. It's starting to slow down, but you know, we're just elementary schools are now saying October 5th is when they're going to go back in person. Wake County Schools is meeting on September 23rd. So we're all sort of navigating through the end of the fall. We're officially fall, but it's going to be a long road to hoe to the end of the year. So please be safe, everyone. And we'll be back in touch later in the week. And it's National Small Business Week. So we got a newsletter coming out soon. So we want to help and support our small businesses. Thank you all so much, and we'll be back. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you.